Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on the internet and around the world. It is sunrise on YouTube, morning on Facebook, noon on Twitter, midday on Threads, afternoon on Twitch, sunset on Instagram, and evening on Rumble. I am your host, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. We are broadcasting live directly from the sanctum of solitude and the citadel at the end of time. Good evening, everyone. It's the Ancient One here, the Phantom Menace, and the master of the deceptive arts. And I'm back again with another video. And today I want to talk about why you should let him have her, right? And how you can actually make him pay. And I'm talking about the Phantom Menace in your life, the man or the person that your counterpart is having an affair with. Now, affairs are rampant in today's society, right? So everyone is that's in a relationship is either dealing with them directly or is concerned about having to deal with them. But I'm here to discuss why you, as a bachelor, should just let her go, right? And let him have her, right? The idea here is to make him pay. I mean, to make him literally pay in dollars, in currency, for this deception. And we'll discuss why you should do that and how you can have it done in an impactful way, right? So, in truth, if your counterpart has been unfaithful to you, in other words, they have had either proven or suspected intimate relations with another man, you need to let her go. You absolutely need to let her go. That's not your woman anymore. That's his woman. Biologically, your first concern should be that she could be pregnant with another man's child. If she is being deceptive, and we know deception is an act of war, she has betrayed you. And in the process of that betrayal, she has made a myriad of bad decisions. And you cannot honestly believe that in the process of betraying you, that she used a condom, right? You can be certain that no condom was used, especially if the betrayal was done several times. You can absolutely be sure that no protection was used, right? So let's look at a couple of scenarios here, right? Starting with the affair itself, right? So what is happening here, especially in a dynamic where you are living with a person or you share residence either temporarily or for a short period of time or long term, right? What is happening is that this person is going outside the home, right? And by home, I mean outside the spirit of the home, the family, outside the physical house, the actual structure, outside of the relationship. They are going outside of the commitment, right? Whether that commitment be dating, a relationship, God forbid, a marriage, right? And they could be doing it for many reasons, right? But part of that is that they are seeking adventure, they are seeking excitement, and they are seeking that excitement through another man, right? And you have to look at the dynamic between the counterpart and her father. The father was the person who initially paid the bills, sustained her life, um, you know, and made the rules, right? Told her no, right? Told her where her limits were. And she would have to go outside of those limits, her father's boundaries, to seek excitement. And she would generally find that excitement with her friends, but very often that excitement will come in the form of a relationship, like a boyfriend or a crush or something like that. Now, in this situation, you have built a home for her, just like her father. You are paying her bills just like her father, right? You are providing all of these amenities just like her father, right? And so you are now the stable force, and you are now setting those boundaries saying, no, we're not doing this. We can't afford that. That's too expensive, right? That's careless. That's reckless. We have children, right? So this is boring, right? This is the boredom of stability, the boredom of growing a family, right? The repetition, the monotony, the security that you provide is repetitive and monotonous, just like the security that her father provided. So she wants some change, right? Change, whether good or bad, provides excitement. It provides an element of the unknown. And in the home is where stability resides, right? So uh, she wants a change from the home, right? So let's talk about the home, right? The home that you have built for her is safe, it is secure, it is calm, it is stable, it is reliable, right? The bills are paid on time, and amenities upon amenities upon amenities are provided, right? Warmth, either in terms of conditioned air, heat, blankets, clothing, right? Hot water, a bathroom with a toilet that flushes every single time. You may have two or three bathrooms. You may have a bathroom with a shower and a bath inside, and carpets and mats and tiles and a fridge. Some places, some homes have two fridges. Those new fancy ones with the Wi-Fi and the transparent screen, so you can look inside without having to open the fridge, right? Expensive things like that: stoves, microwaves, dishwashers, clothes washers, dryers, air fryers, right? And then there's the entertainment, like the internet, Netflix. Let's continue. She'll have sofas, chairs, table, beds, more than one beds, cutlery, several forks, several plates, several cups, several glasses for different types of drinks, right? She'll have sheets, pillows, duvet, washcloth, curtains, towels, and the list will go on and on and on, right? All these things, all these expensive things that you've bought in the name of her comfort, she will now leave those things to go and seek excitement from another man who, by the way, has provided nothing, right? This man has done and has given nothing, right? So, while she's having these affairs, she now leaves all that behind, right? So, this is the quality of life that you are providing. She is now leaving the quality of life that you're providing to say that she wants something else. This is the irony of alimony. You would be providing her everything she needs. She will leave to go to somebody who doesn't provide anything for her just to come back and sue you for the things that you were providing initially that she didn't have to pay a lawyer for, right? She didn't have to pay a lawyer to get these things that she was getting when she left and said she didn't want the things that she was getting, right? But in order for you to keep supplying this life, we got to look at the third scenario here, right? You have to work, right? So you have to work to pay the bills, right? And afford the amenities that she needs, that she wants, that she requires, that she loves, right? The couches, the blankets, the shows, the digital satellites, the cable television, all of that stuff, right? Now, when you are at work, right, you are at work for 8 hours of the day. You're traveling maybe an hour to work and an hour back. 10 hours of the day is gone, right? So it's something like 40 to 45, maybe 50 hours a week during the workday that you are away from her, right? If she works in another place, another a company, if she works at all, right, then, and she doesn't work with you in your company, then she could easily begin an affair at work of which you could offer no interference and would never know. She could be getting text messages from this person all day, all night, and you would have no way of preventing it, right? And if you questioned her, she'd just say it's for work, right? What are you going to say? What are you going to say? It's her boss, it's her this, it's her manager. You can't do anything about it. But if she doesn't work, if she's a stay at home, whatever, mom, girlfriend, wife, right? That is the perfect scenario for somebody who wants to have an affair. You have 10 hours all day, every day, every single day. You are only effectively with this person 2 days a week because you get home, you're tired. Maybe you'll spend a few hours with them, go to sleep, wake up, and off you go to work again. And she's home all by herself all day long, right? And the kids are at school, right? The maid comes once or twice a week, right? And in the middle of that, she's really got nothing to do, right? She's really got nothing to do. So what remains? Right? What remains? She could start an affair and you would have no way of knowing, right? She could very easily go and be with this person 2, 3, 4 hours of the day and have still enough time to go pick up the kids and still have enough time to clean herself up if she needs to or wants to, right? And still have enough time to prepare whatever is for dinner, right? It won't be a problem at all, right? The irony here is that the job that you are doing, the extra time and overtime that you are working to provide the amenities for her, is the opportunity, is the actual mechanism that you have created for her for your demise, right? So it is the opportunity for her to cheat. The thing that you are doing to keep the family afloat is the thing that she is using to betray you, right? This is the irony here, where now, you are working hours of your time, hours of your day, hours of the week, right, to facilitate somebody cheating on you. And the harder you work, the more chances they have to cheat. It's that simple, right? So, I mean, what are you going to do? Quit your job? No, right? So, I mean, if this is happening to you, you have no choice but to leave. You cannot keep funding your own betrayal. You know what I mean? You can't keep having them sustain their affair through your efforts. No. Completely unacceptable, right? So let's look at the next scenario. The the cheating scenario itself. Now, all this is going to build up to you leaving her, and why that is impactful in an immediate and real way. But let's look at the betrayal itself, right? So, if she's working and cheating with a man at work, so we're going to look at two situations. She's cheating with a man who's at work, right? Or within the social circle, so somebody that she sees every day, right? Whether she's working or not. Or she's cheating with a man that isn't working, right? Which is a terrible situation. So if she's cheating with a man that's working, the first thing is that, or with somebody, so let's say she's working, right, and they're working together. Usually what we're talking about is an older man, and an older man will have children, and children mean a mother, right? So this could be a wife, a girlfriend, a baby mama, right? The infamous baby mama, right? So a person with responsibilities cannot be free spirited with their affairs, right? They have to cheat strategically. So they'll only be able to do it in ways and times where they won't get caught, right? So their cheating will be within their patterns of behavior. So it'll be work related, or we work together, or we in the same sports clubs, or we go to the same gym, or the kids are in the same school, or we have mutual friends, right? There will always be some type of useful justification for them meeting each other, or knowing each other, or spending time with each other, or even contacting each other, right? There's a reason for them all. Let's share our numbers because our kids have this thing. So now they have something in common that they can share and discuss, right? So in a situation where the housewife, right, how do I describe this? In a situation, right, so let's talk now about the situation where she's cheating during the day, or they're teaching or cheating in a way that's not really strategic, right? So if you are a man and you have time to have affairs during the day, particularly during the hours of, say, 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock, Monday to Friday, that says to me that you are unemployed, right? Because during those times, that's like peak business hours, right? So most people are at work, and if you are not at work and if you are not busy during those times, then you're not making any money, which means the man that she's cheating with, like I said, doesn't do anything for her, right? So if he's unemployed, she has to then travel to him, which is convenient for her because she can leave her neighborhood where everybody knows her. She can leave her community, go far outside into another community, and do what she wants to do, right? And she can do it during those regular hours where most of her neighbors are at work, right? And her husband is at work, and most of the world is at work. So the whole world is busy, right? And he is available, right? He's free. He's available. There's the excitement. There's the travel. There's the change that she's looking for by leaving her home, right? But now consider this: if she's leaving her home to go to be in another man's home who is unemployed, this tells you that somebody is paying the bills, right? Somebody is funding this existence, probably another woman, right? So she's now having an affair with a with another woman's man, right? And if this man is indeed proficient in sexual intimacy and they are having sexual intimacies together and he's having sexual intimacy with another woman that he's living with, you can absolutely expect there to be children involved in this situation, right? So, not only does this man do nothing for her, he cannot do anything for her, right? And if he doesn't have any children, then we're probably talking about a young man, right? Who is broke, unemployed, and probably living with his parents, right? If he's not living with a partner, right? So, this is also part of the reason why a counterpart or a woman is always more successful at cheating than a man will be, right? Because the man that you're cheating with, he's not going to come and claim her. So he's not going to go to her husband and proclaim his love for her and demand that the husband leave her. Never ever has that ever happened in human history, right? This is the stuff of fairy tales. This is the stuff of rom-coms where the man comes and fights for the woman's valor. This is not going to happen in real life, right? He's not going to go address her husband and demand that he leave his wife and kids so that he can be the man of this house, right? And the reason for that is, number one, this is violence, right? This man is, you just said you're having an affair with my wife, intimate relations with my wife, behind my back, violence, right? And that violence can end in catastrophe, right? But secondly, is that he doesn't actually want the responsibility of this woman, right? Those amenities that we discussed, all those expensive items, he's not providing any of that. He is able to enjoy the best parts of her because the rest of it has been taken care of by another man. This is why men don't go fighting for a woman's love, but a woman will go fight for a man because she now wants the resources that that man can provide. So she has no problem tearing up your relationship and saying that she did it in the name of love, right? But there's no man in the world who's going to be like, let me take these kids and this woman from this man who's paying all the bills and let me take on those responsibilities of those bills, especially since, he doesn't know how much those bills are. And this right here is the reason why you need to leave her and make the other guy pay, right? He needs to be paying for those amenities because you have now been put in a very defensive position. And defense is never, ever attractive. It's absolutely necessary to be a defensive, coordinated person so you can protect yourself, protect your assets, protect your loved ones. But it's not an attractive position, right? So she's given the other guy the advantage of being able to launch an attack cheaply, right? With very few consequences, but you have to mount an expensive defense with all the liabilities and you're destined to lose, right? So if you leave her and she goes to him, right? He is not going to be able to afford what you do for her. Absolutely not, right? So, he's now not prepared to give all of that. He's not prepared to do the extra time and the overtime, right? So he's used to just getting the best of her and he's getting it for free, right? He's relatively getting it on the cheap, right? He loves her because he's not paying for all her stuff. They can have romance over and above the cost of sustaining a relationship, right? But once you leave her, her option is to go and live with an unemployed man who has somebody else paying his bills, is living in somebody else's house, eating somebody else's food, right? is not offering her not a single thing that you are offering her. This is a disaster for her. This is an absolute catastrophe for her. And the effects of this are immediate. When you say to her that you are leaving, it is immediate, right? Because when they are all together, she's not asking him for money for nails. She's not talking about her health care. She's not talking about tuition for the kids and clothes for the kids and bills and the price of things and budgeting, right? So the minute they have to actually discuss the realities of financing their relationship, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight and it's going to be an argument, right? Whereas you may have all her needs already budgeted, right? So the money for the nails, the money for the hair, the money for the maintenance, the money for all these things, you may have it all budgeted. And if you don't, because you're a working man, you'll be able to, figure it out. You can leave it till the end of the month, which is in a couple of weeks. And next week, that's no problem, right? So going to the poor guy is absolutely not an option, right? It is terrible. You cannot leave a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, double garage home and move in with a guy that lives with someone for whom you don't know who that person is. You are assuming it's a spouse, right? But it could very easily be a parent, right? So what happens then if she is having to leave, right? So after you kick her out and she's not going to the poor guy, she's now going to the working man, the work husband, right? The manager with all the messages all night long, right? In truth, he's not going to be able to take on the responsibilities of her costs either, right? Because he already has responsibilities of his own, right? He has alimony, he has child support, he has lawyer fees, right? That's assuming he is divorced. If he isn't divorced, then he's supporting a whole entire family. And what he cannot do is afford to be put on alimony, child support, and have those lawyer fees, because that will destroy him, right? So if she goes there, it's a fight. It's absolutely going to be a fight. In fact, anywhere she goes where there's another woman and children, it's always going to be a fight. So she really has no good options to go to, right? Not to mention that if she is with a divorced guy already and the ex-wife finds out that he has started a new relationship and now he suddenly has money to go on dates and trips and buy gifts and all kinds of things, she's going to say that money, and rightfully so, should be going to the kids. So she may very well sue for more alimony, for more child support, and that's going to increase your lawyer fees, right? So there's really, really no good choices for her. This is why when you leave her, when you say, get out of my house, when you say, I'm leaving you right now, she becomes belligerent, she becomes violent, even if she's wrong. Even if she's wrong, because no one is going to pay for these things, right? Think of it like this. If somebody was to tell you right now that you had to come up with an extra $4,000, $4,000, 4,000 euros by next week, how would you pull that off, right? If she has to, if you leave her and she has to take on all those bills that you pay that are maybe up to 4,000, 5,000, and you handle them together, she has to handle all of those bills by herself, she's finished, right? The rent alone is going to be catastrophic. And the car, and the electric, and the water, and the internet. And if she misses those bills, they cut those services that she needs, right? So her option is to fight for survival. She is now in desperation. And like I said, when you say I'm leaving because she cheated with somebody that has done absolutely nothing for her and can do nothing for her, right? Even if she says she has a rich man in her contacts that's contacting her, you must understand that that man has responsibilities and has something to lose. And there's going to come a point where he realizes that she is a bad investment, right? That he has kids, he has families, and his kids have a future that he needs to look out for. And he cannot do that and care for an unscrupulous, untrustworthy woman, right? Especially since she has betrayed you for him, right? It's not feasible. So she also can't go back, or she also can't go to her friends, right? Because they are in similar situations, right? They are in tangible situations that could be, combustive, explosive in any moment. She too can find herself with a man telling her to go or that I'm leaving you. And she will have to contend with those bills, those ongoing, never ending bills, right? You have to understand something that when she comes home after having had her intimate sessions with this new guy, she's hungry. The first thing she does is she's gonna raid that fridge. She's gonna eat something, drink something, sit on the sofa, be tired, recap her day in her comfort, right? So just the cost of feeding her, keeping her there, keeping all this going, it's tremendous, right? Women's bills are daily. They go shopping daily. They need something new daily, right? And so this new guy is not going to be able to let her go shopping 2, 3 times a week. The next guy, she's not going shopping 2, 3 times a week, right? This is like immediate. And a lot of guys on online chats and so forth, they will tell you that you need to wait 20 years for her to hit the proverbial wall or to go over the hill, as they say. No, that's not true. When you say out, whether I'm out or you out, the impact is immediate. As in, tomorrow morning, she's going to wake up and have nothing to eat, right? It's really that serious and that impactful, right? So you have to understand what goes on in the mind of the counterpart, right? Now, people have told you that the brain has many different parts. In truth, the brain has two parts, right? They are, you know, chopped up into several pieces as the whole body is, but effectively there's the part that controls pain and the part that controls pleasure, right? The pleasure side is fun. It is things like intimacy, celebrations, laziness, entertainment, social media addiction. These all stimulate the part of the brain that indicates pleasure and provides endorphins, right? This is why even affairs have that pleasure sensation to it because they stimulate the pleasure part of the brain. On the other side of the brain is pain. Things like hard work, sacrifice, exercise, loss, studying or being corrected, being told that you're wrong, being told no, being told to budget, being told to let go of childish things, right? So when you tell the counterpart that you are out, you stimulate the pain side of the brain, right? Because now they must face the reality, the harsh reality of what they did, their betrayal, But even worse, the consequences of their betrayal and those ongoing consequences. And I'm telling you right now, she is not going to be able to replace you. If you are wondering if she's going to find a man gullible enough, naive enough to give her all those amenities that you're giving her, I'm telling you, she won't. Right? They say statistically that a man has to go through like 100 rejections on dating apps and social media sites just to get 3 good options. The opposite is true for women. She has to reject 100 men. She has to vet 100 men to be able to find one who can provide some of those amenities. And I'm telling you, she's not finding anyone, not in this economy, right? We know all the rich, successful men. As soon as they become rich and successful, it's all over social media. It's easy to find. You can find the really rich ones and the fake rich ones, right? And even if all the rich men in the world took 100 women for themselves, all the kings, all the emperors, all the presidents, all the billionaires, all the multimillionaires, everyone in the 1%, if they all took 100 women for themselves, there would still be billions of women left outside of that number. And no man can handle 100 women. It'll take you a lifetime to get through 100 women. So she has to give 100 no's to get what she had before she messed up. You have to let her go. You have to let her go because it is the ultimate punishment, right? It is the ultimate punishment for him. It is the ultimate punishment for her. Because if somehow they manage to come together and pull this thing together, right? What is going to happen is the cost of living is going to crush them. On the one side, you have somebody with tremendous expenses. Even if they have great success, they have great expenses too. The last thing they need is another living, breathing, eating expense. On the other hand, even, she has an unemployed man who has all the time in the world. This is why he has the time to entertain you, because he's a loser. If he was a winner, he'd be somewhere building something, working towards something, right? So now you're stuck with a loser, right? And if she has already been intimate with this man and you take her back, right? That is literally the definition of a cuckold, right? If you search the definition of cuckold, it is a man who knows that his woman has been intimate with another man and still stays. This is truly not an option, right? So now you are paying to become a cuckold for a person who cannot sustain their own existence? Provably so, right? It is provably so because it's known that the quality of life for a woman, and I don't know how they work out quality of life, but economically we can prove this. They drop a minimum of 25% in economic function, right? Which I would assume is 25% in quality of life. For men, that goes up 10%, right? So when you leave her, you actually get richer, right? So not only are you curing yourself from betrayal, not only are you curing yourself from being a cuckold, you're actually getting richer in the process. And there's only one cure for being a cuckold. You have to leave her and never come back, right? If you take her back, you are then a cuckold once more, right? So you can be a cuckold and not a cuckold and then back to being a cuckold again by taking her back. So when you leave, you gotta go and never come back, right? This is another reason why you have to leave, right? But she will not find somebody else to pay those bills, right? And if she has already been intimate with another guy, then he has to take on those bills because she's not being intimate with you. She is your intimate partner. She's your wife, your girlfriend. She's not being intimate with you. She's being intimate with another man, right? You need to take that 10%, that extra 10% that you're getting from your salary, from your savings, from your new lifestyle and income because you're single now, and get yourself a vasectomy and secure yourself, right? Because she's not getting somebody else to pay those bills. And that's what women want. That's what they're telling you. They want a man with lots of money, with some height and stature, and some, you know, success and fame, right? Somebody who has achieved something in life, either biologically or through their works. But they don't want to have to be responsible for these never ending, non stop, everyday, all day bills. And if she can't cook, she's making those trips to the takeaway. She's having those takeaways delivered. She's having trips to the restaurants. She's having trips to the shop, and she's paying, right? And no man really wants to sustain that. That's why divorces are so high. I mean, it's one thing for a woman to file for the divorce, but the man isn't fighting it. The men aren't saying, "Nah, I don't want this divorce. Let's make it work." Men are signing those papers, right? Because it's just not worth it. You're spending money on somebody who's going to spend their time giving the best of them to another man just to be moody and drunk or hungover when you got home. No, you deserve better than that. You deserve better than that, right? So ultimately, you have to know that once she cheats on you, the relationship you have is over. And she's now going to go and try a new relationship. And if she tries the relationship with either one of the two scenarios where we described, a man with success and responsibilities or a man with no responsibilities but is an abject failure, those relationships are not going to last. She's going to break up with him or he's going to break up with her. They always end up bad, right? So now she's back, starting again, talking about her favorite color, talking about her favorite meal, and all of her hobbies, and what a wonderful Christian girl she is, and how she never left her home, and how she was always just reading books and praying to God and singing hymns all day long, year after year after year, until you meet her at 35, right? Because you are now plan B, C, D, or E. Because plan A didn't work out. Plan A was that she was going to be CEO by 34. And since that didn't work out, she needs a rich man, right? So that's really why. That's really why you got to let her go for all those reasons, right? But most of all, you got to do it because it's going to hurt. You've been hurt. You've been betrayed. You've been stolen from. You've been lied to. You deserve your revenge. And you're wondering, what is the revenge that I can get? And your revenge is to walk away and never come back and leave her to live out the consequences of her exciting life. All right? And I assure you, the immediate impact of this is so staggering. It is so staggering because you need to see her years later, right? You need to walk away and not look back so that when you see her again years later, what you will see is the full impact of her betrayal. She will look 10 years. She would have aged 10 years in 2 years, right? Her finances will be even worse than you can imagine. And she'll just be pretending to be holding on until, you get her to sit down and talk, and she will tell you all of her problems. And women always have problems, right? But you won't care. You don't want to hear nothing about that. You already got your vasectomy, right? There's a final analogy that I want to give And this is in terms of furniture. So think of a couch like a sofa, right? Think of a sofa where you buy a house, a nice house, 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, double garage, spacious. And you buy a couch specifically to fit that house. And you buy that couch, and it's a beautiful blue leather couch, just fits perfectly into that house, right? And you put it there and you leave it there for year after year after year. And you take care of it and you clean it and you look after it, right? And and when they brought it in, they brought it through the outside door, the garden door. So they brought it in, so it's not bumping into any walls. They don't have to turn it into any funny, um, you know, angles to get it to fit. And they put it right there. It doesn't even touch the ground, and it only touches the ground once when they put it on its legs. And there it sits year after year. 5, 10 years later, you look at that couch, it'll be in immaculate condition, perfect condition, right? Think of the same couch if you then sell it. It's perfect condition. It's only served one person, or it's only served the family that lives in this house. It hasn't moved, it hasn't gone anywhere. Yes, it'll have some indentations, of course, from people sitting in it, but overall, it will maintain its quality and dignity for years, right? If you then sell that couch, right, in our new scenario, this couch is now being sold. It has now moved from this wonderful, safe, warm home and is going Lord knows where. Now, removing it from that house will be safe, simple, secure, right? But once it gets into that moving van, right, the process of moving it, I mean, you're assuming it's a moving van, but it could be moved in any kind of vehicle, right? An open truck, a 4x4 style truck, right? Being moved there, it starts to experience the elements, the wind, the heat, and don't let it rain. That's going to cause immediate damage out there in the streets, right? And when it arrives to its new destination, right, don't let it be like an apartment building. You know what it's like to carry a couch upstairs, 2, 3, 4 flights of stairs, right? It's bumping things. It's gonna get torn up. It's gonna get damaged. One leg is gonna go missing. By the time it arrives in that apartment, through that cramped apartment door, it's been scraped. And this is only day one. It's been bumped, it's been dropped, it's been rained on, it's just the wind, dirt, dust, all kinds of things are happening to this couch. And then it gets in there just to find out that it's too big for the apartment. Now it's got to be taken out, bumped all the way. The same thing is happening, but now it's in reverse because it's happening downstairs and it has to be put in some storage facility. Now, just assume that the person buying it is only buying it to sell it. They can't keep it in their place. Now they got to sell it, but it's even more damaged at an even larger discount, right? So eventually it gets a new owner, but now he's getting a damaged piece of property that he can only use for a short period of time before he has to leave it out. And by the time you see that couch again years later when you're thrift shopping in some secondhand shop looking for vintage goods, you're going to find you won't even recognize that couch when you see it. You'll walk right past it and you won't know what it looks like. And this is exactly what is the fate of the counterpart. You were better off staying in that warm, comfortable home. A home that was built and suited for you. But in the name of excitement, you went out into the streets. And the right thing was for that owner of that couch to let that couch go. Because that couch had had a sense of self-importance, thinking it was the center of the home. So it had to go, right? And now that it's out there, it is just another piece of furniture headed only to one place, ultimately it's just going to be destroyed, folded up, and tossed into the ocean. And it'll sink right to the bottom where nobody will ever see it or hear from it again. This is the ultimate. This is what happens when you walk away. That safety, that foundation of safety that you provided is not duplicable. You cannot duplicate that. You cannot copy that. It only happens once. You don't get 2 or 3 of these. You cannot go back in time and redo and undo the move. Once that couch is sold and taken out into the house, the minute it is out into the house, it is in the elements. The damage has just begun. We are just waiting to see the consequences of the damage. But rest assured, the damage is always immediate. This is why they become belligerent. This is why they become violent. Because they know in truth, there is nothing out there. This is why they are having affairs and they are lying about them. Because if they were so confident, they'd just do it out in the open. Wouldn't they? They'd just do it out in the open and wouldn't hide it and wouldn't be keeping secrets. But they're not. Right? They are hiding it because, not just because they're ashamed, but because they know if they get caught, the losses are going to be tremendous and they are going to be immediate, and you have to let her go immediately. Whatever it is you lose in the process, you can recover it in 2 short years, I guarantee you. I guarantee you, as long as you keep your employment and you keep working and you maintain that money-making routine that you've created, you'll be fine. But she will not. She will not be able to move out and get her own place. Just the cost of starting a new life, just moving in. You need the first month. You need the deposit. You need the 30% for the realtor. They don't tell you about that, but you're going to need that 30%. Then you got to reconnect that water. You got to reconnect that internet. You got to reconnect those electricity, those charges, so they can put the name for the electricity in your name, right? And all of that is going to cost money. This is even before you move in. And then there's the 2 weeks for you to unpack all your stuff and you find out what's been broken, what's been lost, what's missing, what was damaged in the process of moving. It is a catastrophe to say the words, I'm out. It is even worse when you leave her there, because she's going to see the worst sides of another man, and men can be terrible. When he's had it, and he sees that you are not worth the value of time and how much of time and money you demand just to hit normal, you're not even going to thrive. You're just going to be normal. Just the cost of keeping you normal is enough to induce a man into violence. And you'll be wondering, why is he not able to pay this? Because it's expensive. And the guy that was paying it before, he did it because he actually cared about you. And after betraying that man, you're not getting another one like that. You're not getting another man like that. No way. All right? So you got to leave her. And you got to make sure you go and you never come back and let her face the full consequences of what's happening. And I assure you, this always happens. It happens every time. That's why they keep coming back. That's why they keep coming back, because they keep trying out there and they keep failing and they keep coming back, because people are broke. This economy is killing people. It's tough. So there's nobody who's going to, especially if you got kids, there's nobody who's taking on the responsibility of a woman. This is why they want a man to pay their bills. This is why this is such a popular theme today online. It's always about, get me a man who can pay bills, because those bills are killing them. And they had one and they blew it. And it's one thing to cheat on a millionaire with a billionaire, but there are no millionaires and billionaires to cheat with, because they are all at work. So you're cheating with a loser every single time. Every single time. This is why men are complaining. Bad boys are getting all the women, while the good guys are losing women, while we're the ones providing all the amenities. Yes. So let the bad boys have her. And as soon as she's with the bad boy, she's going to say, I don't want these guys. Where are the good men? We're at home, where it's warm, sitting on our blue couch, comfortable. If you really want to know where the good men are, they go home after work, where it's warm, where they got hot water and internet and food in the fridge and coffee with a coffee filter that they don't recycle, right? And toilets that flush, that they don't have to share. That's where the good men are. They are in good situations. And the reason why you are asking those questions is because you are not the woman they want. They may have thought you were, but they know you're not. This is the Ancient One with another heartfelt video. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Leave her. Get a vasectomy. Freeze your sperm. Protect your seed. Have a nice day.